Hi there, folks, and welcome to TV Tuners. It's a television podcast for the true fanatics. It's a weekly dive in the latest in TV news and reviews. I'm your host, Swanson. With me, as always, is my co-host and guy who's going to box 10 different people, and he's looking good, Stairmaster.
I wanted to be James Woods.
No. You don't have what it takes to be James Woods.
My motivation is that, I'm sad that another guy got brain damage.
Yeah, and that's why you're going to do this, I guess.
You see, Diggstown, unlike other movies, is about the characters.
Yeah, they really go for it. Like our other co-host and lady who's here to help us. Kiora.
Neither of us are James Woods?
Clearly, I'm James Woods. I'm the scummiest of the three of us.
You can't be James Woods. You're the host introducing us.
Yeah, so I've got a lot of character traits. I wear short denim shorts.
Nice.
I stare very intensely. And I use the computer once.
You love your brother.
No, I have a brother.
Yeah, it's not really
Our relationship.
shown.
Yeah, our relationship is ambiguous, I guess.
Ambiguous, bordering on
movie?
confusing.
What about Blowjob Woman? Can't forget
That's
her.
not me. That's not me.
Notably, not a lady with speaking lines either. I think the only person who speaks in this entire movie who's female is her. Is Heather Graham's character.
Yeah.
There's the wife.
But I feel like
yeah.
sucking a dude off is more memorable than anything she says. Either of those two women say.
True. It is one of the closest things to what seems to be a joke in this movie.
A dick's fellatio is worth 1,000 words.
It is kind of a power move to get sucked off in front of a bunch of police officers and, like, guards.
Oh, they're corrections officers. They're not real cops.
That's true. They can't do anything once you're out of the walls.
Well, they can't shoot you.
What if they just shot him right
Yeah,
there?
anybody can shoot you, though. Anybody in the world.
It's true. You're legally, like, anybody can just do it right then and there. Say after they lose a bet to you.
Yeah.
They could try it.
Speaking of bets, we watched Diggstown. A gambling movie.
Yeah, it's a con movie, but it's more of like a sports movie.
And I mean, all the cons are kind of off screen.
Yeah, and like sort of just poorly explained after the fact. We watched this movie. This was a buy me a coffee thanks to Puh Pfeiffer for making us watch this. I don't know the reasoning. And
Do you want to do groundless speculation? Possibly.
I always want to do that.
He watched it when he was a lad.
Maybe this was on TV a lot.
I could see that.
This was on TCM a lot.
Like, this is like a Fox afternoon movie.
Maybe his dad just liked it and made him watch it.
Yeah, maybe his dad was a big Lou Gossett Jr. fan.
Oh, is this dad lore? Are we getting dad lore on this?
This seems like this could be a hungover dad, sort of.
Yeah, this is definitely like a Saturday, Sunday afternoon movie.
My theory is he saw this movie in a waiting room somewhere.
Oh, probably.
Do you think they keep the fellatio joke in the TV cut?
I mean, all she does is bend over.
Yeah, true.
It's
I
not
feel like
you
it's
can
like
see James Woods would.
Yeah, true. I feel like it's like it happens and then they like cut away and that's when like the commercial break is where it's like Diggstown will be back after these messages. Anyway, yeah. Diggstown.
Diggstown. That's the town where the story takes place in this movie.
Yeah, it's a made-up fantasy location.
Yeah. Before we dive headlong into this confusing movie, I do want to say that if you're listening, and you have any quips, comments, questions, foresights, otherwise, well, why not send them to our email address at tvtunerspodcast@gmail.com, and we'll read them aloud here. What's that email address, Kieran?
It's tvtunerpodcast@gmail.org.
That's right. Your mail could go here.
Did it?
No.
Let's make up an email, guys.
I got an email here from Gio. It says, hey guys, you chonkin' or you chookin'?
We're chonking.
Yeah, we're chonkin'.
Dear TV Tuners brothers, why is that Stairmaster always got to be Cronklin on that jog? Signed, Gio.
Was that an actual email you found? That's pretty...
Yes.
So, Stair, I think you can field this question. It's about you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm powerless to resist my own nature.
Yeah, it's in the Stairmaster's
Aren't we
nature
all? Haha.
Yeah,
to always be doing that thing he said.
that's what Berserk taught us.
Thank you for the question, Imaginary Geo. And now for the main event. Let's get into it, guys. We watched this movie. It's called Diggstown. It's James Woods. It's Luke Gossett Jr. It's other people.
For a second, I was wondering if this was like HBO, because the quality's a little iffy.
Yeah,
But I think the sound mixing in '91, around the turn of the '90s, was kind of bad for some reason. I don't know why.
the sound mixing is pretty bad. The cinematography doesn't look great. This is a movie that has a $17 million budget, and I don't know, did it all go to James Woods?
That was a lot in 1991, I will say.
Yeah, like, I don't see it on the screen.
I could not possibly imagine how this movie took that much of a budget.
Especially because Diggstown, as it is shown, seems to be a town made of two streets. And all of
James Wood is
Yeah,
not exactly box office fire, especially in 1991.
that's true, yeah. And also, like, all of the major locations in the town seem to be on the same street and within a block of one another.
Was there like a $15 million boxing ring set that they bought?
Half of this movie takes place indoors.
Yeah, in one set. Yeah. I don't know. I guess it's possible that James Woods was still making big money then, but I don't think he was making $15 million.
They must have filmed this opening sequence in an actual prison.
Yeah, maybe that's where the money went. I was curious why there's all these slanted angles in this opening sequence, because they don't show up anywhere else in the movie.
Probably because it was filmed in a real prison and they didn't have a lot of room to work with, so they had to tilt the camera.
Huh? That's believable to me. You should put that on the IMDb trivia for this movie. It might as well be true. Yeah, we get this opening was a little hard to follow at first for me. I don't know if just my attention span has gotten worse.
How much TikTok have you been looking at, Swanson?
A decent amount,
I was watching Subway Surfers be played.
Oh yeah, I'm always playing. I'm surfing subways like constantly. It's pretty much all I do.
I was watching Swanson play Subway Surfers while watching this.
I was watching Stairmaster watching Swanson playing Subway Surfers.
Yeah, and I was also cutting Play-Doh in various fun and artistic ways.
Yeah,
I was using a hydraulic press.
I was like making a recipe that no one wants. I was like using ingredients that don't make a lot of sense to use together.
That sounds tasty. Can I have some of your food that you've made?
No. It's not for consumption.
Oh, it's for the video only. And you throw
Let's
it away.
put it in the hydraulic press.
I have a bunch of glass tubes and I'm going to roll them down these stairs. You want to see if they break?
Yes. Do they break?
Ooh, that one did. Look at all the beads in there.
Okay, I think we're getting a little distracted. Yes, Watson, I would agree that I was very confused throughout, I think, most of this movie, and the opening sequence was no exception.
Well, I was more confused about why the movie was doing this than why the characters were doing this.
Like, you were confused why the movie was doing the whole thing the movie does?
Yes.
Well, yeah, that was one thing that I was confused about. I think the guy wanted money? Did he want money?
No, I mean, like, why are we doing a con movie where there's no on-screen cons? And a boxing movie where you constantly cut away from the boxer to go to his shady manager.
Yeah.
And
also,
again, we don't see the shady managers shading it up.
Here's I think the biggest thing, there's a lot wrong with this movie when it comes to the con stuff, mainly because it's not there.
There's no con.
I don't see a con.
The
biggest thing for me is that, like, in a con movie, you're supposed to find, like, the con artist charming. And that is impossible to do when he's played by James Woods.
This should have been Harrison Ford. But he probably, if he even saw the script,
he didn't see this. What was Harrison Ford doing in 1991?
Well, I just came off of The Fugitive.
Fugitive, by the way, the same guy did the score to this and The Fugitive.
Oh, no, The Fugitive was 1993, so he was filming it at the time.
Yeah, so he was doing better things. You know, there's a ton of people that you could have put in this role that probably would have worked. Like, what was Burt Reynolds doing at the time? Throw him in here. But, no. James Woods is here instead. And it's, no good.
Yeah, I just want to punch him.
Yeah, I mean,
what is this guy doing?
I want to shoot him with a weird flesh gun that causes him to explode.
He's more smarmy than he is charming at any point in this movie. Like, there's no real reason to root for this guy.
He's a bit arrogant.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's like... Yeah, go ahead, Kyo.
Real quick, back to this opening sequence. He's breaking someone out of prison during, like, a punch-up?
Yeah, so I think the thing is he organized the fight and as a distraction so that he could help the guy escape. And he gets money out of it.
And he's done this, like, what, a dozen times since he got locked up there?
And he's still alive and hasn't been caught.
He's not in solitary confinement.
Yeah, they can't prove it's him, I guess. What is going on with this prison? I don't understand this at all. I didn't bother to try to go rewatch the sequence because I couldn't be bothered. But
yeah.
How did he do this? Like, is he like...
He's a con man, Kyo. Come on.
Prison break guy in the world? Like...
He's a con man, Kyo. This is what you need on your side. You don't need a criminal. You need a criminal.
Where's this guy getting $10,000 cash in prison? How is this happening?
The screenwriters did not want to have this be longer than 90 minutes, so they just thought of the quickest way to have him be antagonist with the prison warden, so they could do the last 8 minutes of this movie.
Yeah.
Fake out.
And the last 8 minutes...
unnecessary, by the way.
The last 8 minutes, by the way, are past the 90-minute mark, which is how you can tell that they were, like, scrambling to just get it done.
But anyways, the warden is like, you're no good.
I want you out of here, and once you're out of here, I'm going to find you and put you back in here.
I love you.
You're no good, but I love you. Yeah, this warden who is just a random guy. I don't know who this guy is.
Oh yeah, Jim Caviezel's in this movie. It's one of the...
Yeah, you know who he is, Stare?
No.
He's the guy that says the N-word.
Probably...
that's why he took the script, I'm thinking.
Most enticing thing ever. He was reading through it, he was like, yeah, this is kind of weak, I don't know. Ooh! Inward. Ooh, here we go.
Jim Caviezel, notorious Hollywood crank nowadays, who famously played Jesus in the Passion of the Christ.
I thought that was Mel Gibson.
No, Jesus was not played by Mel Gibson.
Also, when I read Jim Caviezel, I was like, "Oh, is that Jim Office Man?"
No. Different.
And I was like, "When you."
Much different. Apparently, he's going to be in Passion of the Christ 2, by the way, which is a thing that's happening.
They continue the story of Christ?
Yep, and the last movie he did before this was Sound of Freedom. So, you kind of get an idea of what he's been up to. Anyway, yeah, this guy is like... Nah, we're gonna figure out what you're all about, Mr. James Woods.
Yeah.
And then it just cuts to 2 weeks later and he's out of jail. They're like, we're gonna catch you before you're released in 2 weeks. And 2 weeks pass and he's not caught.
Yeah, that screenplay is not great.
No. And James Woods, I feel like his character is like they wrote like a role for Jack Nicholson. For like 70s Jack Nicholson. Because like he's just smarming it up, but it's not in like a charming way. He almost gets shot in the scene with the guy, with the warden, and it's like, huh.
Damn, that would be bad, I guess.
Would have been a better movie if he just died right there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the warden points a gun at him and fires it slightly off to the left. Even though he could just... kill him.
Yeah, no one's stopping him.
Jumping him.
If he kills him right there, what would have happened? Nothing, right?
No.
Probably not. The movie wouldn't have happened.
There's a lot of points in this movie where people could have just killed this guy with no repercussions, but it just doesn't happen.
Yeah. There's a couple of egregious ones.
He could have got into a car wreck when he was getting roadhead.
True, he could have run over somebody while he was getting roadhead and then been cursed.
Didn't happen.
Didn't happen.
Being made thinner.
I don't know. For him, what would it be like? Poorer.
So anyways, he goes to Diggstown, watches a boxing fight. At the same time, his friend is pooling.
Yeah, and like the way the movie.
Hustling.
Yeah, his friend the thing starts with his friend hustling. And the way that the movie sets itself up, it seems like he's already gotten this plan started before he escaped prison. Or not escaped, before he was released.
Yeah, there's a scene with him in the yard talking to the guy. Laying down the procedure.
Yeah, and he needs to go get money from some shady guy who doesn't matter to the movie at all, but he has a greasy ponytail. This guy that he gets the money from, it's like a single scene that they film in not Miami, but it's supposed to be Miami or something, where he like goes to a house full of like rich people doing rich people thing, like rich crime people doing crime things. And he's like, "Hey, I'm going to use your money." And the guy's like, "Okay." And then he shows up later when it's when the big reveal of like the 11th fighter, and he says, "Those are the rules." And that's all this guy does in the movie.
Yep.
But yeah, I guess the scheme as it is, as we know it, I guess, is that his friend is going to start swindling people out of their money. He's not even really swindling them. He tells them up front that he's good at cheating.
Well, that's part of hustling, is the mind game.
I guess that's true, yeah.
But here's the problem, is that makes me think about a better movie, The Color of Money, directed by Martin Scorsese.
It's true. Imagine if Diggstown had been directed by Martin Scorsese.
Yeah, the thing about this movie that's really, like, totally missing is I don't feel like anybody actually got, like, tricked here, right? It's just... people just kind of are... It's like, "Hey, you want to do this?" They're like, "Yeah, sure, let's do what you want to do." And that's about it.
Diggstown seems to be a town that's so boring that all you can do is gamble or watch mediocre boxing. Or presumably, I guess, do both.
Yeah, everyone here is crazy for watching people punch each other. They're like nuts for it. And it's a great way to make a lot of extra money, I guess.
Yeah. And the town is named after like this famous boxer guy who retired, and they're like they loved him so much that they named the town after him or whatever.
He was so good at punching.
Yeah, because he was so good at punching, they said we're gonna name it.
Maybe he won the town in a boxing match.
Ooh, that's a good. Now there's a movie.
See, that would be a movie.
Yeah, that's a movie right there. And after winning so much, the buddy of James Woods disparages the boxing guy, and that it makes people angry enough to bet a bunch of money on this
guy
this
he just
idea
pulls
here.
out of nowhere. This mid card.
Yeah, he's like, that guy's not even a good boxer. They're like, oh yeah, who is? This guy I know. Don't you worry about him. The strangest thing to me about this scheme is that we don't really know for a fact that Lou Gossett Jr.'s character is a good boxer. Like, we know after the fact.
You know, you might be right there. We don't actually see him boxing. We just see him teaching people how to box.
We see him teaching children.
Yeah.
Which is not necessarily... Like, he might be a good coach. A good trainer, but like we don't see him boxing at any point before.
I mean, obviously, there's got to be tension on whether he's going to prevail or not, but...
Right, and like the idea that...
You also need to establish a baseline level of competency.
Right, because the idea that we don't see him box at all and then immediately expect him to take on 10 people in 24 hours is a little much.
Or rather, you show us boxing, and that creates doubt that he can do it. Either way, that's better than showing nothing.
Right. Well, yeah, because it depends on where you want to go, right? This movie is also tonally weird in terms of...
It feels like it wants to be a con movie, but it also feels like it wants to be a boxing movie.
And it, like, varies between being funny and being, like, this is a serious moment. And, like, if you wanted it to be funny, then you would show him boxing, but, like, he's getting his butt kicked. If you wanted it to be serious, then he's, like, kicking ass. Anyway, we do get a 90s training montage, which is not much of anything.
It was a very flaccid montage. Like, what was that, honestly?
Yeah. He's like he's like walking around, he's running, he's picking stuff up. He's not even running up any stairs. They conveyed that he was like, you call it some training montage?
Let's convey that he was training, but not like training hard or determined to win this. He's just training because he's got to box soon.
They didn't have any money to spend on the training montage.
They only had $17 million to work with here.
Just build the... Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, by the way, I looked up the IMDb trivia because I mentioned it earlier. Do you want to hear some facts?
Yeah?
Maybe.
Roy Palmer's wife, that's Lou Gossett Jr., is played by Lou Gossett Jr.'s real wife.
Good for her.
Glad she got those 2 lines in. There's a deleted scene that appeared only in the theatrical trailer on the DVD. Roy looks to James Woods before fighting Hammerhead Hagen and says, "He seems awful mad. Did you tell him he was black?"
What? What's going on?
What does that mean? What? What does that mean? I can see why it was deleted.
Wait, how would that even fit in the movie? Because he wouldn't have any time to say that before the infamous "remember you're black" line.
Yeah,
the way that fight went down.
I don't know.
Am I wrong?
I don't know. I'm assuming that's part of why it got deleted, is they weren't sure how it fit with the timeline. But everyone, the people who were like making the trailer were like, you gotta include it.
I'm just
It's gonna bring the house down.
I'm just imagining the extended cut of this film, which has 30 more minutes of people kind of slowly getting to the point.
There is one moment or a few minutes before in the movie that definitely felt like, oh, that's for the trailer, where James Woods goes to visit Lou Gossett Jr. to convince him to join the operation here because he hasn't yet. And after his wife is like, you know he's conning you, right? He goes to confront him, and he's like, I can't believe you did this. I'm not going to work with you ever again. And he closes the door, and then he opens it again and says, pick me up at 8. And that feels like a trailer moment there, you know?
But they didn't do that sort of thing back in the 90s. Like, trailers weren't, like, dominating.
Well, no, you needed a funny little beat in your comedy trailer, which is what I'm guessing they made this look like.
Yeah, that was a real hero's journey moment, by the way, guys.
Last trivia bit here. I think this is a good one. The film was called Midnight Sting in overseas markets. Don't think it really conveys anything more than... I think it's actually more confusing.
Because these fights take place during the day, and he takes a break.
Yeah. I guess because he has till midnight.
No.
But also, it's not a sting.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all.
It's just a con.
And it was barely a con. I still don't know what the con is, honestly. If you try...
It feels like they had to actually put... The prison thing was put in retroactively so they could have a con at the end. Because they realized they didn't have a con in the screenplay.
Oh, yeah. Sort of like how they just added a female character to the movie. Seemingly because they got like a note from the studio that was just like, no ladies? You should probably add one. So yeah, where are we in this movie? The training montage has happened, which at this point means that Lou Gossett Jr. has encountered the Charles Diggs or whatever, played by Vigo the Carpathian.
Yeah, and he has 0 lines of dialogue.
Well, yeah, he doesn't speak. It must be great though to get paid to just sort of sit there and stare, and then like slightly twitch your hand once. Good job if you can get it.
Yeah, that's the kind of role you should aspire for in a film.
Yeah.
So Louis Gossett Jr. comes back and demands lore from James Woods on why he's a vegetable.
And I don't understand really why James Wood is so reluctant to reveal this info to him. Does he think he's gonna like box harder, and that's somehow a bad thing? But for some reason, he literally, like, Lou Gossett Jr. literally has to beat the information out of James Woods.
Probably because there's literally nothing going on in this first act.
So yeah, they need a little spice. It also doesn't help because, like, I feel like we should have gotten a scene where he knows this information and then reveals it. Like, there's no dramatic tension in the fact that, like, he knows something that Lou Gossett Jr. doesn't know. It just sort of comes out and we're like, oh, that's a thing that's happening in this movie? Okay.
It's supposed to deeply affect you, Swanson, and you're just a heartless person for not caring about this.
Yeah, I guess I should have been weeping during this reveal. Which is that the story, as the story goes, Diggs' last fight was his manager, who is the rich owner of the town, who's taking this bet with James Woods, bet against Diggs' opponent and drugged Diggs so that he could lose the fight because he wasn't going to do so willingly, and Diggs suffered irreversible brain damage as a result.
Yeah, specifically, he would not fall down, even though he's drugged out of his mind.
Yeah, and so that's like the big thing here, I guess.
Yeah, so
at this point in the movie,
we established that the guy sucks, basically.
To...
He's not a nice guy. He's a bad guy.
Yeah, but hey, don't worry, because there's going to be a couple more scenes to make sure you really know this guy's no good. Just in case you were worried. I feel like this entire movie, to quote the late, great Roger Ebert, is like an explosion at the screenplay factory. Like, they just... It's just a lot of elements just sort of crammed together here.
It's sort of like a car crash, I would say.
Yeah. And
like specifically the debris flying around everywhere.
Yeah. There's an element here that goes so overlooked that when it's revealed at the end, I was like, huh? Which is James Woods starts talking about how there's in this house that he's staying in, there's a mysterious other like guy there.
I completely missed that.
And he doesn't know who it is, and he like tries to ask Heather Graham's lady character, the only important quote unquote lady character in this movie. He asks her who it is, and she's like, I don't know. I have no idea. The whole deal with her character is that she is the sister of James Woods' ex-cellmate, which is he's the reason that he came up with this scheme, I guess. Of course, this ex-cellmate comes home in a casket. Pretty much, like he shows up dead in the street.
Yes, that's what it means when you're dead and in a box.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't. Yeah, it was a casket, all right.
Right, Swanson.
Do you think the 17 million went to this fake funeral?
I think they really killed this guy, and that's why they had to pay 17 million.
Oh, there you got it. You cracked the case.
Legal
I think
fees.
This guy was actually murdered for this movie.
I think.
This was when the Clintons were running for president.
They kill him and also make him. They make sure he's naked, which is a wild thing.
This is one of the most like vague, like.
Yeah, he's like ass up.
Vaguely confusing, least impactful deaths I've ever seen in a movie. Honestly,
because you see a bunch of people who are just like, "Oh, what's going on?" and they're all 80 yard. I'm pretty sure.
And so then Lady leaves the movie forever.
No, she still has role to play. She just leaves 20 minutes before the end of the movie and is never mentioned again. Because she does, I forget what she does computer
She's
thing,
like,
which is how he finds out how much assets.
Yeah, she goes on the computer. I don't know what the hell's happening here. I don't understand this, but she goes on the computer.
This is a much bewildering 90-minute movie.
She goes on the computer.
She's on the computer and she's printing something out.
She's like, hold on, I gotta do this financial stuff. And it's like, okay. And then she's like, dude, he owns half the city. And he's like, wow, this information could get you killed. And she's like, yeah, so here you go. And he's just like, okay, that's what happens.
Bye.
She's like, okay, bye.
Hope you stay safe.
We're not even going to kiss or anything.
There'll be zero tension between us.
Yeah,
I mean, I do appreciate that they didn't have someone 20 years younger than James Woods kiss him, but
yeah, all she does is stare intensely and smile at him all the time, but no kisses.
Yeah, zero implications.
There was like
that. He's too busy getting head from the lady who drives his car.
There was like a point in this movie where like they meet up and like I feel like I was like, are they together? No, I guess not.
Yeah, I feel like maybe there was like a page that was just ripped out of here where it's like they're together now. Like a scene from the movie that was just gone where they're like they get together. But yeah, this is important for the scheme, I guess, because him knowing how much money he has means that he can keep upping the bet. But he never, I don't know. It feels weird because like he's never the one that ups the bet. It's the rich guy that keeps upping the bet. Does he know? Is he like so good at the con?
At the end.
Oh,
he's really angry.
You're right. Yeah, he does up the bet.
Stare, do you Do you know why the rich guy is even doing any of this? Like, what does he have to gain out of this? Because I didn't understand that.
I think he's just mad that his son lost his car.
That's it?
Yeah, is that the only reason?
I think he just thinks he can out-hustle this guy and take his money.
Oh, so it really is like
Woods.
a color of money for idiots.
Yeah.
Um,
Except we don't get Forrest Whitaker.
No, it's true. It'd be better if he did. The movie also kind of reminds me of The Longest Yard, and we'll get into some reasons why later. But the fighting begins at this point, and the boxing is pretty much like the entire second and third act of this movie.
It's not very good boxing either.
Yeah, it's a lot of Lou Gossett Jr. beating people up.
A lot of hits to the head.
We do get my favorite scene in the movie, by the way, which is just there's music, like guitar music playing, and then he's just shaving his head, and that's it. That's the scene. That's my. That's it.
Should have been steel drums like Commando.
It's the entire scene. He shaves his head, and that's supposed to get us like hyped up, I guess. They also do this thing where it's like the guitars are playing, and he like takes off his ring attire, and it's just like a flabby old man body.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was supposed to be funny, but it was funny to me.
I was hyped.
This might have been an actual joke, but the actual part of the movie that did make me go, haha, is right before the fighting starts when the rich man starts a prayer circle with all of his corrupt like officials.
Yeah.
Praying to God that they'll be able to crush the bones of Lou Gossett Jr. I thought that was funny.
Rest in peace.
But yeah, so the fighting starts. First guy's like easy to beat him up real quick. Second guy,
you gotta put on a show because this is a con movie.
Yeah. Second guy, he's already been bribed by James Woods, so he takes a beating.
It's a con movie where everyone knows that the guy who's fighting is pretty good, and they take him seriously, and they're not tricked at all. But their plan just doesn't work against him. That's it.
Yeah. Third guy is, of course, Jim Caviezel uttering the N-word.
He dies instantly.
Yeah, and then immediately he gets his pelvis shattered.
You don't do that. You can give the black man an N-word rage boost, which will cause an instant defeat.
Yeah, it's like they've never played Punch-Out.
Oh yeah, there's a hidden feature with the Nest microphone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it wasn't used. Like future versions of the game, if you get an original copy, it's in there still, but future versions of the game had it edited out.
Yeah, without Mike Tyson. They got Mr. Dream instead, and he's impervious to that.
Yeah. Second guy is the best fight in the movie because the fart machine is going wild for this one.
Yeah.
You know the writers were loving this idea here, which is that they give this guy a laxative before the fight. They slip it in his drink. And literally before the fight even starts, this dude's already shitting his pants. Like, he's sipping his water, and you already hear the farts going on.
These extremely stock sound effects. Like, they thought that was hilarious. I bet they were like...
What? Do you think they're going to get a Foley artist to record novel fart sounds?
For $17 million, I would hope so. But yeah, it's literally just like this. You would get them off the soundboard like today. It's just like
you've heard all these fart sounds, folks.
Yeah, these are the OG fart sounds. Okay,
including the one that's like whoa.
But the guy, whoever was deploying them in the edit was having a field day. They were just laying them left and right. They were like, just add as many farts as you can.
It's like the guy on the crazy keyboard piano that looks like it's some sort of Willy Wonka machine.
And that's that fight. The fifth guy has a little bit of a problem. You see, he goes into the locker room and his brother is being hung.
And he also held at gunpoint.
Yeah, it seems a little superfluous to do both.
These two brothers took money from James Wood in an earlier scene that we forgot to mention.
Yeah, their names are Slim and Hambone. Hambone being
on
the
birth
one.
Certificate?
I think so. What should we call our son? How about Hambone? Hambone being the one who sees his brother Slim being held at gunpoint and also about to be hung. And the rich guy who comes out and he's like, hey, guess what? You're going to throw this fight or your brother, he's going to get shot and hung.
Oh, no, he's going to win this fight or his brother gets shot and hung.
Yeah, he's going to win the fight, yeah. So he actually tries, and James Woods is like, what the fuck? What? Hey!
Dude, that is just wild. The plan here was to threaten him so he would win the fight? Like, and then, like, he does his best, and then he kills him, and he's just like, oh yeah, because I'm evil. I killed him because I'm evil.
I killed him anyway. And here's the thing. He loses the fight, and he's instantly, like, running to the back.
Well, we don't see him kill him. We just see that the guy hung himself, and there's a note saying that he's really, really counting on the money for this match. So maybe he did kill himself.
I killed myself.
Coincidentally.
He saw a note, and he said, I did it for The Rock? That's strange.
Yeah, they didn't have Vine back then.
He killed himself with the suicide note neatly tucked into his waistband.
Well, also, so when he comes and sees his brother is dead, there's a sequence where we almost get police violence because this police officer draws a gun and is going to shoot this guy. Luckily, Lou Gossett Jr. is here to break it up.
Yeah, because black people.
For some reason, the police officer doesn't just shoot both of them when he's taking money from the rich guy.
If he did that, they wouldn't get money from the bet.
I guess it's true. Yeah, they want the money. They want the money! Yeah, so this guy's dead, and Hambone is being taken downtown, where you would presume he's going to get murdered. But he just comes back at the end of the movie.
So everyone's at sleepy time now.
Yeah, they're like, hey, let's take a break. Let's all take a break.
This movie needs to keep going,
take a break
so we're going to take a break.
And then... Oh yeah, and then what's his name gets shoved in a locker.
Yeah, some random guy. I don't know what this dude's role was. I guess he was like supposed to be feeding bad information to the other guy. Like James Woods hired him to feed bad information to the rich guy.
That was the con. He made him like slightly underestimate how good he was.
Yeah, and this guy gets beaten up but not murdered. And this is the moment where Heather Graham's character leaves the movie because James Woods says, you need to take him to a hospital. And she does, and that's it for her. And this guy. We don't know if this guy even lives. Presumably whatever backwoods hospital they have in Diggstown is enough.
It was 30 years ago, so they're probably all dead.
Well, yeah, realistically speaking. We also get a scene here where like some random mob people show up. Or I guess just random people that James Woods owes money to. This feels like...
Yeah, the ponytail guy.
Is it him? I thought it was a different group.
Yes. They show up to be like, by the way,
it's the same guy.
There are stakes for you in this. If you don't get through this, you're going to die. He's like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. So let's get back to it.
Thanks, movie. Yeah, and they all are there watching the next fight. Next fight is just some guy who gets knocked out like instantly. The most jobber of all the jobbers in this, like he is immediately punched out.
And then rich guy's son.
Yeah, he takes part of his dad's own con in this one, where he goes up to the ring, gets on the curtain, and then leaves. And everyone's like, "Oh, it's a forfeit." Ooh.
Well, the dad just doesn't want to see his son murdered in the ring, which probably would happen.
Yeah, he didn't want him to die horribly, you know. The next guy is like, he loses, but he loses because he kicks Lou Gossett Jr. in the junk.
Also because Lou Gossett Jr. beats the shit out of him after he kicks him in the junk.
Yeah, that doesn't apply to anything later in the movie either. He just gets kicked in the junk here.
The refs are very lackadaisical, because then we get the big hunky dude, chunky dude,
big chunky
who literally
guy.
picks him up.
You can't do that. You can't do that in boxing.
No consequence. Twice.
Yeah, that's not how boxing works. That's not how the rules go.
That's like just picking the ball up in basketball.
Yeah, you can't just
pick them.
you can't do that either. Like, I know there's no rule that says a dog can't play, but there is a rule that says you can't just pick the ball up.
Do you mean running without dribbling?
You're just not doing the sport anymore. If you.
Oh yeah, just.
Yes, I mean just holding the ball in your hand.
Just pick it up and go.
Yeah, it's basically the same thing as throwing your opponent in a box.
Imagine how much easier basketball would be if LeBron James could just pick up the ball and go and dunk it.
Honestly, I think he's earned the right.
Everyone else has to play by the rules, but he just plays like that.
Yeah, maybe it should be the opposite.
But yeah, he ends up beating that guy too, and then the next big fight is that the rich guy has found the only person who ever beat Diggs in.
The guy who ended his professional career.
Yeah, his name's like Hammerhead, and this guy shows up and
Hammer Haynard.
There's like a fun. It's all right, I guess, but there's like a fun line here from Lou Gossett Jr. where he's like, "I thought you'd be dead by now," because it was like supposed to be like 30 years ago, and this guy's like, "You will be," and he gets his ass kicked by this guy for a long while.
Yeah, this guy was a heavyweight contender.
Yeah, and he's kicking Lou Gossett Jr.'s ass, and James Woods about to throw in the towel, and then
he does throw the towel, but Lou Gossett Jr. catches it, which I don't think that's how it works either.
Yeah, I think if the towel's thrown, it's already considered the end. But listen, I'm not up on my rules, and I know that pro wrestling rules, you grab the towel, it doesn't matter. The ref is calling for the bell. So I feel like boxing
this is advanced
the same,
boxing.
right?
With money on the line. You can't just throw in the towel.
That's true. Yeah, you can't throw in some towel.
Well, most boxing is a criminal gambling operation.
But he gets... Lou Gossett Jr. gets inspiration from seeing Vigo the Carpathian looking from the stands, and like he slightly moves his hand.
That's crazy.
Which could mean anything, but he takes it to mean, I guess, he wants him... I love that this scene happens and we never see that guy again either. Like, he moves his hand slightly and we never get confirmation what the fuck it means. We're just supposed to...
He was giving him the sign. The boxing.
The universal sign of slightly moving a hand. While staring blankly. Like, yeah, it never happened. Like, nothing is ever followed up on because they already reached the 90-minute mark. You know, all that was left was to just add in a hastily thrown together 8 minutes. And he rallies and beats the guy, and everyone celebrates because that's the last guy, and that's cue the rich guy saying, You
didn't say the magic word.
Yeah. He notes that his son never entered the ring, so there's actually another fighter. Another fighter has entered. Yeah, and this is so thrown together. This shit is so... So this is the like, they've reached 90 minutes at this point, and this is when the screenwriting just falls off a cliff. Like, It's like, it feels like Roadrunner and like Wile E. Coyote, where like he falls off a cliff and then there's another cliff to fall off of. Because like, so this guy shows up and James Woods is like, wait a minute, that guy he was in the prison that I was in. And the rich guy's like, that's right, the prison that you were in was in this county. I guess you didn't think about that.
And guess what? This guy, he's gonna fight. Look how good he is.
Yeah, we don't really know that he's good either. Like, it's not even the guy who was fighting at the beginning, I don't think.
Could have been. I don't know.
I mean, it could have been. Yeah, I don't know. I thought he looked different, but who knows? And who cares? So yeah, Lou Gossett Jr. gets his ass kicked by this guy, and as he's getting his ass kicked, James Woods jumps on the canvas and is like, I guess we didn't explain this part, so we should go back. We should go backwards. And the first meeting,
to the first act of the movie.
Yeah, and the first meeting between James Woods and Rich Guy, James Woods is like, yeah, this sucks because I can always tell who's gonna win. And he's like, oh yeah, you think that guy's gonna win? He's like, yeah. And then he stands up, straightens his tie, and the other guy wins. The other guy just like lets him punch him in the face and knock him out. And like, so James Woods jumps on the canvas and straightens his tie, and this jail guy lets Lou Gossett Jr. punch him and knock him out. Which it feels like it's a different thing when you do it in the crowd than when you jump up on the canvas and do it, but maybe that's nitpicky.
Who cares?
And so he's like, yeah, it turns out I bribed that guy before you bribed him. Uh-huh, sure. And so, because of the steadily increasing bets, the rich guy has lost literally all of his money. Everyone's celebrating for some reason.
Everyone in the town has turned on him.
Yeah, everyone in the town is celebrating for some reason, even though they liked him before. Even the people who are on his payroll were like, "It's over, give up." I mentioned earlier, by the way, that this reminds me of The Longest Yard. There's two big reasons for that. One, there's an N-word drop. Now, it's not as good as Stone Cold Steve Austin doing it, but it does happen in this movie. And also, a black guy does get murdered for dramatic effect. But the main reason that the thing that reminded me of it also is that this involves a guy with a gun the last minute trying to kill our protagonist. And then he gets beaten up. That's the movie.
I thought he was going to accidentally shoot his own son for a moment.
Oh, yeah. So the whole... This is such a mess, because I also forgot to mention that when the guy from the jail comes out, the warden also comes out with him. And he's like, "Looks, I told you
I'm involved in this because
James Woods.
I don't like you.
I'm involved in this because I was mentioned in the first act, and that means I gotta appear again at the end."
I had a villain moment at the beginning where I did some bad stuff with a gun. Remember that from the beginning? That set me up as a villain.
Don't worry, there'll be another person who's going to try and do bad stuff with a gun in a few minutes. It won't be me, though, because I leave after this one moment. We don't even get, a standard... If this were, going all in on being, a cheesy-ass movie, you would get a shot of, the warden being, shaking his head, what? Oh, no! You know, something that signified comeuppance. Maybe a pie would be thrown in his face. If this were a true cinema.
But that just ties into my theory that this is an aftermarket addition to the screenplay.
Yeah, it definitely.
At the 11th hour when they realized there were not enough cons in the con movie.
This was 4:30 on a Friday, was when they were finishing up this bad boy. Yeah, and so the rich guy pulls out a gun and is going to shoot James Woods, and then his son steps forward and says, "No, Dad, don't."
Yeah, and I thought he was going to accidentally shoot him instead, and then it'd be oh,
better movie.
Tragedy. That'd be pathos.
Tragedy. But instead, Lou Gossett Jr. is about to like punch him out, and then he says, "My hands hurt. You want to do this?" And Hambone is here. I guess the people from the jail let him go, and he punches the guy, and then we just get this tacked on scene at the end where everyone is left but James Woods and Lou Gossett Jr. And James Woods is just like, "Well, that's the movie, huh?" And Lou Gossett Jr. is like, "Yeah, I guess so. Cue credits." No, that's it. They were just like, "Yeah, how do we end this?" They just say it's over. And that's pretty much it. Like, I was almost expecting like those old school like yellow credits that you would get at sitcoms.
Honestly, I'm glad that this movie just ends.
Yeah, I mean, it is
to cinema nowadays.
It is better than giving me another half hour of like what really happens after this guy loses all of his money.
I think this movie should have had one of the characters walking away and the camera pulling out.
And it should have been the guy. It should have been Diggs.
Yeah.
Like, it should have ended with like Lou Gossett Jr. being like, "I saw what you did there, Diggs." And Diggs is like, "That's right. I trust you." And then he gets up and walks away. This place is called Lou Gossett Jr. Town now. And that's the end of the movie. But no, instead it ends with like them being pals. That's it. It's the movie. Good work, everybody. James Woods doesn't get killed. Lou Gossett Jr. gets to prove whatever point he was trying to make. And the rich guy got what was coming to him by being punched in the face and then having popcorn thrown all over him.
And also, James Woods' friend was there, I guess.
Oh yeah, that guy. Yeah, he was there too.
Alright, so
that's
Diggstown.
Yeah,
better or worse than Red Heat? We're doing that instead of Tune In.
Yeah, worse, I think. Red Heat had like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, it also had Jim Belushi, but like, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Red Heat didn't fill me with confusion like this movie did, so definitely worse.
There you have it, folks.
Well, wait, what do you think?
Oh. Yeah, definitely worse than Red Heat.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, the screenplay to Red Heat is like at least mostly competent. Like it follows a beat.
And also at least has the greatest opening scene of all time.
Yeah, I mean, you're never gonna. Yeah, it's. I think it doesn't even compare actually. Like,
this
Red Heat is like a good, like
limp.
solid, like B movie, like B plus. Well, not B plus. A solid like C plus B movie. This is not anywhere in that tier. I'd give it a D for Diggstown.
This movie made me want to Diggstown my grave.
Ooh, Gravetown. And listen, that's about it for this bonus episode. This was brought to you by Puff Pfeiffer over at he bought it for us at Buy Me a Coffee. If you go over to buymeacoffee.com/TV Tuners, you too can do that. You can buy us a coffee and we'll watch.
It's a great use of your money.
Drivel you want us to watch. Maybe it'll be something good. Yes, it's a great resource.
It's one of the things we're going to get to watch something good. That's crazy.
That you think would be fun.
That's crazy.
I mean, it's hard to say. Who knows? But
you can make us watch The Fugitive.
We're not going to complain about it. Even though if you do make us watch it, I might say, I don't care! But until the next time, keep watching. Bye. It's over.
Hey folks, time for the TV Tuners Phoenix. That's where we are now. Fact of the however long this is. Did you know That Stairmaster is 5% Cactus Man.
I could go 6 months without having to re-satiate.